Good afternoon, Chair Murkowski, Vice Chairman Schatz, and members of the committee. My name is Dayna Seymour, and I'm a member of the Colville Business Council, the governing body of the Colville Tribes. Thank you for inviting me to testify on the Purchase and Referred Care Improvement Act. Purchase and Referred Care, or PRC, is a program where IHS beneficiaries receive care from private non-IHS health providers when IHS is unable to provide the care at its own facilities. As discussed in more detail in my written statement, for years, IHS mismanaged the Purchase Referred Care program at the Colville Service Unit. Our local IHS personnel, most of whom are Colville tribal members, went to great efforts to try to get PRC services for our tribal members and otherwise make the PRC program workable. The IHS Portland area office, however, would impose new obstacles at every turn. Addressing PRC was the main reason that on October 1st, 2025, we contracted all IHS functions under the Indian Self-Determination Education Assistance Act. From 2017 to 2022, the IHS Portland area office administered the PRC program at the Colville Service Unit. During this time, the PRC program was administered so poorly that we can trace it to deaths in our community. IHS required on an annual basis our members to produce utility bills, certificates of Indian blood, other proof of tribal enrollment, and other information not required by the IHS regulations or the IHS handbook to get PRC services. Those who were unable to produce this information either went without care or obtained care on their own and faced collection agencies when IHS refused to pay for the services. If IHS did approve PRC services, there was no way to predict if IHS would pay the provider. When IHS does not pay PRC providers, the providers will assign the debt to third-party debt collectors and pursue tribal members for payment. Even though the Indian Healthcare Improvement Act generally states that individuals are not liable for bills associated with authorized PRC services. PRC providers rely on the boilerplate consent forms that they require all patients to sign as an alternative basis to pursue the debt. IHS's mismanagement of the PRC program has resulted in many Colville tribal members avoiding IHS care altogether out of fear of being saddled with medical bills and having their credit negatively affected. Near the end of our negotiations with IHS, we were shocked to learn that the Colville Service Unit had $42 million in carryover PRC funds. This money should have been spent on health care for Colville tribal members had IHS administered our PRC program properly. Some tribal members have paid medical bills for PRC services out of pocket because they feared having their credit damaged by being sent to collection agencies. There is nothing in the law or regulations that prohibits IHS from reimbursing beneficiaries when they pay out of pocket. IHS, however, has indicated that it is unable to reimburse for reasons that they have never explained to the Colville tribes. The PRC Improvement Act would clarify that individuals that receive PRC care that is authorized by IHS shall not be liable to any provider or debt collector. The bill would also preempt the use of boilerplate consent forms that providers require patients to sign from being used to target tribal members through collection agencies. Finally, S.1055 would require IHS to reimburse tribal members who paid medical bills for IHS-authorized PRC services within 30 days. This is only fair because PRC bills are IHS obligations and tribal members should be made whole when they pay out of their own pockets to avoid collection activities through no fault of their own. For those tribal members who paid a medical bill out of pocket, the money that IHS would reimburse would be in the PRC carryover funds for that service unit. In other words, the reimbursement requirement would not cost taxpayers anything because that money is sitting in the IHS system as unreconciled PRC funds. For Colville tribal members, any amounts they paid out of pocket would be reflected in the $42 million carryover at the Colville Service Unit that I mentioned earlier. The Colville Tribes urges the committee to take whatever steps are necessary to secure the enactment of S.1055 into law. And the Colville Tribes also fully supports S.1055 Indian Health Service Emergency Claims Parity Act, extending the time frame from 72 hours to 15 days for reporting PRC emergency care services to IHS. This will minimize instances of PRC care being denied for emergency care. This concludes my testimony, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Seymour, and thank you for the very concrete examples you've provided the committee. And next we go to Ms. Leanndra Ross. Welcome.